Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Aaron. Welcome to episode 12 of my Dreams to Life artist series. This week's guest is a good buddy of mine, John Hawley, hailing out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He has been an artist for better part of 3 decades now, and his dedication to music and his family is very inspiring to me. And I'm really excited to sit down today and talk to him about his experiences and his overall footprint in the house music community. So let me bring him on. What is up, brother?
What's going on, man?
Not much. How are you?
You know what? It's breakfast for dinner tonight. So like got the bacon coming down, just
Oh, yeah.
ah,
Nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
First smell of bacon.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, hey,
Some
man, I
people will
appreciate
talk about the carcinogens or whatever, but I'm just like, eh, I'll look beyond
the
it
taste
today.
is the taste is too good for that, huh?
You know how it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, hey, man, thank you so much for joining me today. Like you and I have talked, I've been doing these interviews and just kind of having some conversations with some friends and artists that I respect in the scene, and just want to have a conversation regarding your experiences and your footprint in the community, and kind of just talk about what's inspired you over the years, what's kept you going, and what you got up to here in the near future.
Yeah. Okay. Where do I
Right
where
on,
do
man.
I begin? Where do you want me to
Well,
begin?
yeah, let's start off with why don't we share with everybody how you got started in the music community, and what inspired you. I believe your bio said you started sometime in early '90s, so tell us a little
Yeah,
bit more about that.
91. It seems like ages ago, and it was, but also it doesn't seem like it was that long ago. Like it's every time I get back into the music or DJing, I feel like I'm 15 again. 16. My brother was a DJ, so I don't know if you're familiar with red carpet lanes, but in Wisconsin, there was a bunch of branches where they had bowling alleys and clubs, like full on clubs in the middle of the bowling alley. And my brother was playing at all those places. And um, as a youngster, he would take me there when I had to hang out with him for the day. He would take me in the club, show me how to start records, play with the lights, figuring out the mixers, starting up the amps, the starting order, like you got to turn on the mixer first and then the amps because you know so that pretty much got me hooked. And then he took me out to dinner one night at this place called Tijuana Yacht Club, and they had a restaurant in there at the time. And it was like right as the club was starting up, and I heard like um, it was Debbie Deb Lookout Weekend, and I was like, "This is brilliant," like. So I got instantly hooked that way to dance music. I mean, I was playing instruments as a kid, but I got sick of being, competing for first chair or second chair, or playing sheet music. So I became breaker because like that was the rogue thing to do at that
Right.
time. Become a breaker, and we were skateboarding and BMXing all the time. So that's kind of when it all started for me.
Right on, man. And what was like the genre that you got into of house music?
You know what? I didn't really even get into house music per se. It was all like R&B, hip hop. There was house, there was techno at the time was like say like Two Unlimited, like stuff like that, like the epic like 138 BPM, O Fortuna, stuff like that. Witch Doctor.
Were you a musician growing up?
Yeah. Yep,
What
I
did
played I played cello, stand-up bass, and saxophone, and those all kind of have played a role in my music life you know, like learning how to play instruments at an early age really gave me rhythm, gave me understanding of, you know, music theory. And it just all progressed from there.
How much different are live instruments and performing live instruments versus DJing? What would you say are the largest comparison and contrasting?
Compare and contrast.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, Man, it's such a different world, you know, but one in the same as far as like music structure and whatever. But DJing is a whole different vibe, man. You know, like it's an, you know, like I would argue that every single DJ, because of the way that they choose music from being in the store, because like I like to reminisce on this stuff back here, you know, like when we used to go to the store,
oh yeah,
and you just pick stuff off the wall and you'd go and listen, and if you didn't like it, you better put it back, you know, put it back where you found it, you know, like don't leave all that stuff in the bin right in front of the, you know, the turntable that you're listening on. And everything from that to actually going home, studying the records, going out and playing them, the order that you choose to play these tunes is what makes you different than any other DJ. Because like I can have the same tunes as you, you're going to play them in a completely different order than I am.
yep.
You know what I mean? And that's what's beautiful about being a DJ, and what needs to be respected, I feel, a lot more these days, is a DJ song selection is what makes them an artist.
I fully agree. I definitely agree with you with respect to making it your own. There's definitely a deepened level of authenticity and vulnerability as a DJ that, from my own experience, just being able to curate the programming order of the tracks and just creating an overall vibe and experience for the crowd.
Yeah.
I definitely can see that and relate to that. And I've never played a live instrument per se. I messed around as a young kid, but never had an opportunity to get into live instruments. But I can only imagine that it's very similar in regards to making something your own and just creating an overall experience, like I stated.
Yeah, the vibe, the moment, you know, like because I've been messing around a lot live, and we'll probably get into that later on in this conversation, but I've really been like circling back to playing drum machines, playing synths, getting it all like, you know, and you're essentially creating vibe from your own ideas, you know, and that's kind of where the two have like meshed together for me. But like for to go back to what you were asking about the difference between DJing and playing live music back then, was like, say you're in orchestra, there's the, you know, the orchestra leader, you're following the tempo, you just very like, right?
Right.
And that was the thing that really kind of got me to stray away per se, was, you know, there was no dudes like putting together bands or any of that, you know, there was none of that. So I don't know, I just got pulled away from it by DJing.
Yeah, I can kind of see how DJing versus that orchestra type of instrument playing would allow you to have a lot more creative control in performing. And one of the things I read in your bio is that you said house music is your life, and it grounds you
Yeah.
with unity and joy. Tell us more about that.
Well, house music really it embraced me, you know, because the expansiveness of it as a culture, you know, you get to experience all different races, all different walks of life, you know, and that's really something that I enjoyed from like the beginning. Like Derek Carter was one of the biggest DJ influences for me. He used to come to Milwaukee here, and play at this place called Matisse. And my brother, it was like a room of like 50 people, maybe 75, you know, at the max. The speakers were like on fire. You know, they used to have like the capacitors inside of the speakers, and those shits were on fire, dude, while he was playing. And it was just, you know, that soulful Derek.
Yeah.
You know, the cigarette burning his eye. You know, leaning down, the smoke going up in his eye with his eye half closed. You know, the overall vibe of house music, the positivity, the, you know, and all that translates into life, man. You know, the
100%.
the diverse surroundings and stuff, like my job right now, what I'm doing. I don't think I would be able to do it without having, you know, the house music culture and the rave culture in me. Because, dude, I can talk to anybody. You know what I mean? And there's just, that's how house music is. You know, you go out to house nights, and there's always people that just are there, just, and you could just holler at them. You know, you might not even know them, but you connect through the music, and all of a sudden you're friends for 15 years.
Yeah, I definitely am very grateful for all the experiences and all the different people that I've met throughout the years. It's really amazing how you can connect on an authentic level with so many different types of people every time you go out to an event. Everybody, in my opinion, I feel like everybody is their truer self, you know, when there's house music around, and just the vibe is just so real and thick. You know, it just brings out happiness and joy, like you stated.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the things that has really attracted me over the last 2 decades in being in house. I do know you do have a family, a wife and daughter, 2 daughters, correct?
2 daughters and 2 sons. Yep.
Oh, wow. 4 children. Awesome. We have 4 as well.
Yep. Twin boys.
A little bit about how you guys have blended in music with your family, and what type of inspirations you have provided for your children.
I try to take the approach of, I just present it to them, you know, like when my daughter Jasmine was younger, we would just have keyboards around and just let her mess around with it and figure it out kind of on her own, but just nurture the things that they liked. And oddly, you know, with me being in the lab during the day or whatever, they just automatically would come around it. And then I'd be like, oh, look at this, or, you know, check this out, or do you like this? And they start to get their own taste, you know, in music, and kind of force feeding, but not, you know, just having them around it.
Yeah.
And so I was Mr. Mom for quite some time when they were younger. So they were constantly around me. So, like, again, I'd be in the lab, you know, like I kind of built my studio and our basement around that fact. Like, their playroom was just to the left of where my studio is. So I'd be able to be in the lab working on stuff, and they're right in there. Well, it kind of backfired on me, you know, later on here. Like, it's like, get out of here, quit making all this noise, you know. But yeah, it's always been something, and they're all just kind of finding their own way into music right now. Like, Jasmine plays the piano like crazy. Like, she's able to play things that, like, I couldn't even, like, I look at the music, I'm just like, what? You know, like, what is this?
Have you ever used any of her samples in
you know, I try not to put the two together just yet.
Okay.
You know, because, like, she's very into the classical and rocking it. And lately I've seen her where she's kind of gravitating off on her own, and she's playing, you know, like, I'll catch her in the headphones just kind of rocking just by herself, like some original stuff or whatever. So I think that day is coming, but I haven't really pushed too hard for, you know, hey, I want to sample that. What are you doing? Play that again.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Are all four of your children into music?
Yes, in one way or another, like my boys, they're twins and they're polar opposites. So one of them is a big on singing, and oddly he has the biggest mouth. And the other one is very reserved, and he likes to play piano, and he plays almost better than his oldest sister. I have to say, like, not biased, but I'm just saying, like, feels like he's been like watching her and learning from that, and then kind of going off on his own and doing stuff. So it's been cool to watch.
Oh yeah.
My oldest, 23, she was always like very interested in choir, and she played keyboard sometimes, but it's more so singing with her too. So it's kind of like, two for two.
Right on, man. And as you've grown the last 3 decades in the house music community, what has been like your biggest growth lesson that you would say that you've experienced?
My biggest growth lesson, getting sober, 100%, because that was a very, two parts of it, like it was like music, get faded.
Yeah.
Every single gig. And then I came to a point in my life where like I decided on my own that I wanted to change and get away from that, because like it was slowly killing me, man. So music really pushed me in that direction though. Like you go to the club and it's pretty customary where like you show up at the club and somebody wants to have a shot or they want to have a drink. You're playing, somebody walks up with a shot or a drink.
Yeah.
And it's free, it's there, it's all the time. So I would say that's my biggest lesson was, just learning that I had the issue.
Yeah, just having acceptance first, and then just making the internal decision to
Yep.
grow from there. I
Yep.
personally have not had any alcohol since New Year's. That's just a personal decision of mine, and it's been,
I applaud you.
I feel incredible, and this topic is definitely a commonality with a lot of the artists that I've interviewed to this point, in regards to the longevity of their tenured devotion to the music. I think once people identify that the party has to be separate from the music, that's when things take off for the artists. And that's when when you start taking it more serious and treat it like a business, so to speak, and your brand, things start shifting for the artist. Would you agree to that?
Absolutely. 100%. If not 110%.
I absolutely love that, man. And I really acknowledge you for your dedication to not only your health and the music, but to your family, because that's a really big adjustment from an artist standpoint. But to carry on a lifelong passion of music, it does take drastic moves like that. But you're also setting a really great example for your children. So I just wanted to acknowledge you for that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure throughout the years it's been tough, having the no's and saying no to people and saying no to your good friends, and it just makes it hard, especially when you're an artist playing out and traveling and you're constantly around that type of environment. Not to mention the stigma of being an artist and a producer and DJ. You're automatically coined with the party hat, and once you go sober and take things seriously, there is definitely a gray period with respect to reestablishing what your brand is.
Yeah, you end up getting alienated. You end up finding out who really has been down with you, and you find out like how petty some people really are about it.
Yep.
You know, because like, say I'm out and people see me at like, 10 o'clock, it's like, yo, what's up, man? Hey, blah. And then all of a sudden it's like 1:30 and they see me coming and they're like, oh, here comes John, he's Debbie Downer or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not even like that, like
Exactly.
it really isn't.
But I think at that point you start identifying who the real ones are, who's there for the music and who's there for the party.
Yep.
And I think
I've done that, man. Oh man, let me tell you.
Shout out to Johnny Anthony. He jumped on. Spurlock, what's up, brother? Thanks for jumping in. I saw Mitch Dodge jump in earlier. Shout out to you guys. So once you got sober, would you say that your production improved as well?
My production improved. My openness to expanding into different things. Because like I almost felt like I had like horse blinders on all the time, It was like, oh, you can't go into that techno world. You can't go into D&B. You can't, do weird left field stuff because everybody starts to look at you a certain way or whatever. And I've really let go of all of that, Like I even, like I've been messing around with rock bands and, things like that. Like just doing whatever comes at the moment, like not like ever turning anything down really because it's not house music or whatever.
Right. Tell us a little bit about the left field and D&B stuff. I've started dipping my toe into it a little bit. Started a little bit of D&B. I never was really into it, but like over like the last, I'd say year or so, I started like getting an ear for it. I've also have like 10 to 20 left field tracks. I think those two genres are challenging for me with respect to just an overall vibe, but I'm starting to understand it a lot more. And I'm really interested in starting to collect those two genres a little bit further.
I gotta thank my wife actually for inspiring the push towards D&B for me, because she comes from like a metal background, it's like,
oh yeah,
crazy, mosh pits and stuff, and the more darker end of music per se, and so she was like, oh, you should check this out, and I always had like my D&B friends that, when I used to do these nights in Milwaukee at 3, it was a club called 3 in Milwaukee for better part of like 10 years, and they would always do a D&B night on Wednesday night, and I would always go down there for some reason just to hang out. All of a sudden I'm like, man, like Danny the Wild Child in there just crushing it, or Phantom 45 would come up, and my boy Chase, like from Milwaukee, he would be in there just crushing it, and it really started to grow on me. And then once Corey Lynn pushed me kind of in that direction, I started like investigating it and checking it out, and starting to listen to different artists and whatever. And man, I just started building a collection. And it's like anything else. It's like any other genre. When you play it, your true self comes out because you've chosen these tracks to play. Yep. Like when something catches your ear, you buy it. Sometimes it sucks. You go home and you listen to it and you're just like, oh, why did I even buy this or whatever. But like anything else, not everything is going to be great. And so that's just kind of how I got into it, and left field is more so like when I would get sick of playing or making stuff that like when it just wasn't clicking, like you're sitting in the lab and you're working on something and you go back and you listen to it and you're just like, man, what, you get writer's block or something, and I would just shift the tempo and go like way down, like go to like 80 83 BPM, 88 or something, and just start, finding cool sounds, and all of a sudden it turns into this like thing that you never even imagined that you were going to make. As long as you're open to the moment.
Oh, exactly.
That's
I love being well-rounded with respect to having a wide range of a catalog, being able to not just stay pigeonholed in one genre or one label. You're able to just create an overall vibe, and the vibe consists of multiple genres. And being able to throw out those gems that you've had for 15, 20 years that people forget about, but then once you play it, it's legit. It
become a tastemaker again.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yep.
Shout out to Clint Storm. What's up, brother? Thanks for jumping in.
He wants to know what Jonn listens to at home, outside house or D&B. Ah, okay. Mostly it's hip hop. Yeah, like new school, old school. I listen to rock. I do construction during the day, so like it's a lot of rock heads. Like a lot of those guys. They love to listen to rock. I love listening to classical stuff, like classic rock. Every now and again you'll catch me vibing out to some Spice Girls even.
I can see that while you're folding the fitted sheets.
Yes, absolutely, man. It's necessary.
Oh shit. Have you heard of Lazy Surf Orchestra? They're pretty much high on my list right now. It's kind of a combination of reggae, hip hop, and electronic music.
No, I haven't, but I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, check it out. I'll send you a link, man. They're vibey as hell.
Do it.
We'll do.
I'm always open to links, man. Always.
Tell me about some of the festivals you played at. I know you were talking about something up in your area a couple years ago. I think it was pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Are you still planning on playing at festivals? And what have been your favorite festivals so far?
You know what, man? Like if the festivals come, they do. But I'm more so center my sights on the underground and clubs, because like I feel like a lot of the festivals have gone to a place where like it's just so big. It's just so big, so like not personal anymore, where you go to an underground party and you can talk to a DJ. Not he's back there behind, all the security over there, like, dude, that's just not my vibe.
Yeah, some of my favorite venues have had the DJ booth on the floor with the people, almost like a boiler room style.
Yeah, interaction is the best. It's what it's all about. To be honest, like I can't stand being up on a stage where like, I'm 15 feet away from everyone, and I want to be able to like fist pound people and feel it, even like come out from behind the decks for a little bit.
Yep. What's been your favorite venue to play at?
Here in Milwaukee, or
just in general? You have one in Milwaukee and also outside?
In Milwaukee right now is Mad Planet. Absolutely. Like Mad Planet has been around in Milwaukee for many, many, many years. Like I think it's one of the very first nightclubs in Milwaukee. And we do this party, House Your Body. I don't know if you've seen any of the posts or anything, but
yes.
It's I got some swag right here.
Oh yeah, I need one of those shirts.
Yeah, I got you, man. We got tons of them. So Mad Planet, we bring in the sound, we bring in the I bring in the booth. Really, I don't even use their booth. I set up different. I've always been kind of big on that too, like where you change the look of a venue for a night, where it becomes something new, for people that have been there before or whatever. But it was one of those venues that I used to stumble through completely drunk, and I never really like would be able to comprehend how dope this place was. It reminds me a lot of the End Up.
Okay, I
You
gotcha.
know, dope, swanky art, just cool peeps.
Yeah.
You know, and a real diverse crowd. That's my favorite thing to play. Is where like it's just a big hodgepodge of everyone that loves the music, man.
Oh yeah. Who's your favorite DJ right now? Clint's asking here in the chat.
My favorite DJ. Oh man, you know it depends on new or if we're talking about old. Because Diz, for me, hands down, one of the best ever to do it.
Amazing.
You know, Diz is a DJ's DJ. You know, like he'll drop stuff where you're just like, yo, what? You know, like he'll just make things happen. Uh, New school, there's so many good people right now, you know, because I feel like the pandemic really made everybody kind of go inside and hone in their skills and start, you know, really, dude, like tearing it up. You know, like there's a couple local guys for me. Trey Gingivitis. I don't know if you've seen like his tracks on SoulFuel, but Trey's a mad scientist. You know, like he just sent me the next release for SoulFuel. He's we're doing a rebranding kind of thing with him. It's his name's gonna be Trey.5 now.
Oh yeah.
And you know, that dude's one of my favorites at this point.
That's sick, man. Yeah, one of my favorite DJs is Galen from Sunset in
Mm,
the city. I
I've
saw him at his camp out a couple years ago, the year before the pandemic, and he's fucking blew my mind, man. He played shit I've never even heard of. Like I couldn't even categorize the music. It was just so out there and just mind blowing.
yeah,
I absolutely love when DJs can just take you for a journey that you did not even expect.
right. Yeah, you go in places you never even wanted to go, but you never knew it.
Yep. That's the whole point, man. Just going out there and releasing.
Yep, 100%, man.
Did you get into any of the Twitch mode during the pandemic?
Yes, I did. I did quite a few, and it's funny you asked that because I'm going back to my house, your house.
Oh yeah.
That was one of the, you know, like when it all started going down, that was where I gravitated towards. I was doing Sugar Shack for a while. Uh, not the male strip club in Wisconsin. But I was doing a show on there for a while, and then I started doing SoulFuel sessions where like it would just be like, you know, we would call it the nooner, you know,
Right
nooner with John Hawley.
on. Was it midday?
Yeah, I would just start going at noon,
Like a lunch break?
and yeah, and play like Mad Deep or, you know, down tempo. I never really got over like 123, I would say, but those were cool times, you know, like and then once they really started cracking down on the copyright thing, that's when I kind of backed away a bit. But
Yeah, that was a little bit frustrating, man. Especially, you know, when we can't go out and perform, and we're just trying to perform for the homies, and you know, have a little bit of normalcy in our life through that pandemic. You know, it made it really
yeah,
challenging getting muted all the time, and you know, it was a scramble trying to find different avenues of, you know, of places to stream.
I would be playing my own shit and getting getting muted, dude. You know, like got to talk to Darren about that shit.
That's fucking funny. That's funny as hell.
Yeah.
How have you seen the house music landscape change over the last few decades? And what do you think has been like the biggest contribution to that shift?
Um, you know what? I feel kind of like we're missing out on something because of WMC disappearing. Because that was kind of like the, you know, we're going to Mecca.
Yeah.
You know, we're all going to Miami, and you know, we would all get down there. You know, it was all like when UGH undergroundhouse.net was around. That was a very, you know, unifying thing for house music. I felt like the underground, at least. And then I feel like what happened is big money saw the EDM thing. Like, we could call it EDM and we'll just lump everything into it and make a bunch of money. And then I feel like house music dove way back underground again.
That's
You know,
almost a good thing, though, right?
the real stuff. Yeah, absolutely. You know, like I kind of applaud it because it somewhat imploded itself.
It's
When
almost it's all, but there's almost like a sense of pride and ownership. Like when I'm talking to someone and they're like, "Oh yeah, I like house music," and they list off like Calvin Harris or some shit like that, and you're just, nah, man, you don't know what's up.
yeah,
And it's almost like, you know, you get a sense of pride because you this time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears into this passion, and to have it be underground with it's so well known but still have that underground feel is just something to be admired and respected. And I just love knowing that I've had those experiences over the last couple decades.
absolutely. A point that I was thinking about was whenever you encounter those people that give you that Calvin Harris response, that's where you kick in and be like, man, but have you heard? And then
Exactly.
just dump it all out of them, like, you know, you need to listen to Joe Cassell. You know, like, you need to like really kind of, you know, bring them in and teach them.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the approach that I've been taking. You know, so it's been cool. I've changed some people's minds. Some people are like, dude, I'll listen to Darude all day or whatever, you know.
You can't teach someone that doesn't want to learn. That's for sure.
Some of them you can't convert them, but you
Where
know,
do you,
I've had metalheads that, like, you know, used to listen to like Crazy Slayer and, you know, like Megadeth and you know,
I
all
still,
this, and all of a sudden they turned into like techno heads, all because you played a techno set one night and they were there and it was just the right thing for them to
that's
kind
awesome.
of, you know, make them see it.
When the student's ready, the teacher will appear.
Yes. Yeah.
I love using that quote, man. It's fucking true.
It's 100% true. You know, like you could see it wash over people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like one of my favorite stories about WMC was we had this like farm girl friend that came with us one year. She was like, "Oh, I want to go to Miami with you guys and whatever." So we went out to see Farina and Wyatt, and Wyatt was playing Most Precious Love. Remember that song?
Oh yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. And like, you know, the strobes were coming in and the CO2s hit, and she was like, yeah. And you know, me and Corey Lynn were just like looking at her like, wow, look at that. You know, like it's just washing over her at that moment. And ever since then, she's been straight house head.
Fuck yeah, dude. That's what's up. Where do you see house music going in like in the next 10, 15, 20 years?
I hope not to auto sync and AI, you know, because there's too much like press and play type shit
I agree.
going on, you know. I'm really hoping that like the kids that learn instruments and stuff, you know, there'll always be those eclectic ones that like really want to do it, you know, really differentiate themselves from people, from other stuff, get inspired by other things and create their own vibe, because that's what it's all about, really. But then there's going to be the kids or the spoiled brats that get everything handed to them and they're used to just press and play. And, so I feel like there's going to be this constant struggle between those two.
Yeah, but like DJing,
Technology advances.
yeah, with DJing too, like I started with vinyl as well. I still play vinyl, and there's just something so nostalgic and so authentic about mixing two records versus when I'm playing on CDJs or a controller. I find myself getting bored with just two digital decks.
Really?
Because with vinyl, you're constantly working, you're constantly like hearing and listening, and
Yeah.
with digital, it just becomes so much more visual, and it's easier, in my opinion. It's a lot easier to mix tracks digitally. Where I'm starting to branch out and getting out of that is starting to mess around more with effects and even like a third deck. I think a third deck adds a lot more texture to that, and it decreases the amount of wait time, so to speak, in between tracks.
Yeah. I get you.
So it's just I definitely understand where you're coming from with respect to the whole sync thing. There's just it just seems like it can become like a jukebox type of deal versus like back in the day when you went to go see a DJ, he was fucking hustling, flipping through his record bag, opening up records, not going to the next one, no, flipping it through and putting that shit on, trying it and balancing it out. And I just those days are so nostalgic to me, and there's just so many vibes in those types of experiences back in the day.
Yeah. At the risk of sounding like a fossil, because the minute you start talking about sync or you're talking about vinyl, everybody's like, oh, here we go again, but,
Get on.
like for instance, my son Jackson has shown interest in this, and he was like, well, I don't want to get on these turntables or whatever, right? And I'm like, well, then don't start. because you gotta pass this test first, like, for real. It's just how it is for me.
True form of beat matching. That's like the most basic form.
Yeah. It's how you learn. I mean, okay, so here, right? Games up in here.
I love it, man. I love it. How many records do you think you have? 5,000?
Probably about. You know what? I'm not. I won't. I don't even want to say, because like there's so many.
That's amazing.
Like there's a lot of money back here and over there.
Money and memories, though.
Yeah. This was like one of the foundation things of my wife and I. Our relationship really kind of started on going to Chicago on Fridays, and I would go to like Hot Jams, I'd go to Gramophone, Supreme.
Oh yeah.
We'd hit up Untitled and check out some clothes and get some food, and it was all just a thing, So when I think about those days, man, I'm telling you, it's just what a beautiful time it was.
That's amazing, man. And I just love that you keep the memory alive, you stay authentic and true to yourself. And I just have a lot of respect for you. Stacy and I are actually going to be, we're moving into a new house here in a month or so. And we are purposely going to be putting all the vinyl and the whole setup front and center in the living room. And it's just going to be an integrated part of our daily life. It's here now in our house, but you were at my house a couple years ago.
Yep.
In the same spot, but it's going to be more of a centerpiece in our new place, just because it's such an important part of who we are and who I am.
Cool.
And we just think it's important to keep carrying that vibe on with the family.
I scored this the other day.
Oh, hell yeah.
Paid in full, baby.
That's it. That's the cut.
You know, she won't let me do that. She won't let me have like the decks in the middle of the living room, you know, like not yet.
Not yet. Well, look how
No.
many records you have. I don't have that many fucking records. I got like
Yeah,
maybe
it's kind of crazy. It is kind of crazy, but
a lot.
dude, this is what this is life.
Who you are.
You
Yeah,
know,
it's who
like
you are.
it was, you know, every Friday, man. You know, and like I'd be spending like $270 a week on
Yep.
records.
I've been I know that. I know that feeling.
It was a borderline addiction for a while.
It can be for sure.
I think it was an addiction. I think it still is.
It, it probably still is too.
Yeah, it still is.
Luck-
It still is.
Luckily, with the digital era, you can at least put them in folders and different carts and shit like that, and save them for a rainy day, and go back and press buy. But I
Yeah,
definitely I remember vinyl days, man, when I was buying that shit weekly, and it gets expensive for sure.
dude. And then I started buying stuff from like Deep Fix and DanceRecords.com, and
Yeah,
you know, like Juno.
yeah.
It just went
Are you
from like going to the store to stuff coming to the doorstep, like trying to get there right when it came.
Oh, so it doesn't melt in the sun?
Yeah, or get wet, or somebody steal it, or you know. So
Are you still buying vinyl right now?
no, I haven't in a really long time, and I want to slap myself because I'm trying to get back to pressing it. Actually, I've
Oh, no.
been working with Mozzie. Uh, he's going to help me out with pressing our next one. It's going to be for our 20-year anniversary. I'm going to do a double pack, and we're going to put on some cuts on there that I've always wanted to press, and then we're going to have like a kind of yeah, I get all choked up inside when I'm thinking about it because like it's kind of like a benchmark for me to be able to do that again because you know, like the term starving artist, it was way too real for a lot of years, you know.
Yeah, I feel it.
So
Well, good
getting
luck with that, man. I really look forward to seeing that pressing, and I'm definitely gonna buy a copy when you get that completed.
oh dude, it's I can't wait. Can't I can't wait.
That's phenomenal, man. What's the time frame? Do you think this year, next year?
Well, we're 20 years old next year, so I'm shooting for March.
Oh yeah, man. Congrats on that goal.
It's always been March for me, so you know, I'm gonna try to have it like I'm shooting for February so that I have it in March. So you
Right.
know, like we're planning on going to WMC again next year, and there's been a resurgence like Ken ECB,
Yep.
you know, from East Coast Boogeyman.
Oh yeah.
He's kind of rallying the troops right now. So like I think we're all gonna do it again next year.
Fuck yeah, man.
So
Maybe I'll make the trek out there as well.
I think you should, man. It's gonna be interesting to be there and actually like have money to do it
Yeah.
instead of trying to like, you know, skimp on this or skimp on that to be able to afford this and
Go
that.
enjoy yourself, man. You deserve it.
Finally.
Oh yeah. So as we wrap up here, man, we've had so many gold nuggets and so many great tidbits of experiences shared back and forth. What's one thing you can say to the audience about house music that what's like the largest thing that house has provided you over the last 30 years?
A lot of amazing friends, you know, a lot all over the world, you know, and I feel like that will keep this alive, you know.
Thank
People
you.
having an open heart and open open to just being friendly,
Yep.
and taking part of the community, like, because if you say scene, I say this a lot. Scene is one part of a movie. Community is the entire flick.
I love that perspective, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I resonate with that.
Yep. So I feel like the biggest thing that I've taken from it is the community, man.
I love it, man.
Friends, everybody, everywhere. All of them.
I'll second Clint's statement. Much respect for always keeping it real. What's
That's how
up,
it is, man.
jumping in too? He said, well said, brother. Well, Jonn, it's been a great time chatting with you. Hopefully I get to see you soon. Going to try to make it out.
San Diego.
San Diego show here in the next couple weeks. But until
May 13th.
Yeah, May 13th, Friday night.
Yep.
So
Friday the 13th. I'm going to be wearing
your Jason mask?
Yeah, actually
And your machete?
there it is.
Oh shit.
Yeah, man.
I have to get down for that shit then.
I'm going to probably bring this too.
Hell yeah.
Play some acid.
Right on, brother. Well, hey, much love to you. Much love to the fam. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely. Absolutely. Looking forward to chatting with you soon.
Word up, man.
All right, brother. Take care.
Bye. Peace.